Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you 13 books that you should read right now. Well, not right now. After you watch this video, you should read them. I like a lot of different kind of books. So these 13 range from go-tos that I've loved for years and years that I've read over and over again to classics. I'm a sucker for the classics. To really trendy books that everybody's been reading. So if you are new here to my channel, me too. Hi, I'm Miley. I just started this channel with my husband, Eric. We upload videos every Monday and Friday, and sometimes we do a surprise video in between. Go ahead and click the subscribe button. Make sure also to click the little bell icon to turn on notifications so you know every time we post a new video. We hope you'll stick around for a long time and we're excited that you're here, so thank you. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. I'm telling you, these are 13 good books you should read if you haven't already. The first book on my list is a classic, but kind of like a contemporary classic that's super fun, kind of gory, kind of suspenseful, kind of crazy, but awesome. I think I read this book in literally one day. I could not stop reading. Jurassic Park. You guys, I know you've all seen the movie, but the book is better. If you just want to escape for a little while and be like in suspense and anticipation and scared a little bit even, and you want to learn about cool dinosaurs and like the weirdest, most awesome park you'd ever want to visit that could also kill you, this is the book for you. Seriously, read it. It's awesome. Okay, book number 2 is more of a trendy type book. You know the kind of books that just make you think days after, that you just like can't get out of your brain? That is this book, which is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. You guys, this is such a sweet book. You will literally fall in love with Eleanor. She is so helpless and naive and sad, but there's so much humanity in her and she's so relatable all at the same time, and her story just comes full circle. She learns so much about herself. I think this is another book that I literally read in one day. I couldn't put it down. It is so good, and it's a really easy read too. You'll love it. Book number 3. This book is a nod to my musical theater love. It's also very different from its counterpart, which is one of the reasons I love it so much. So that book is Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West. So this goes through the entire untold story of Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West, and shows that she's a really complex character, and it just delves deep into how she became the Wicked Witch of the West. If you like the musical Wicked, which who doesn't like the musical Wicked, am I right? This book is completely different from the musical, but it's still really awesome. It's a lot darker, it's a lot more mysterious and kind of adult. By the time you get to the very end and the whole story just like comes to a head, ooh, it is so good. You need to read it. Book number 4, Wuthering Heights. Oh, what a classic, you guys. The only book written by Emily Bronte. She died way too soon. Just think, this book is so amazing, and it's the only book she ever wrote, well, that's published that we know of. Just think, what a literary genius that we lost. How many more amazing books like this we could have had. This is a complicated story. It really is almost metaphysical. It's a love story, but it's so much more than the love story. It goes above and beyond and out of itself. It explores a lot of themes like heaven and hell and right from wrong. It's really good. Book number 5, you guys, this is so fun. Okay, this is such a great book, you guys, and I came upon this book kind of as an accident, and I literally read it in probably 3 hours. I like devoured this thing. It was so stinking good. Molly's Game, which there was a movie that came out with Jessica Chastain about it, which you should also watch because it is so good. The book is better. The book tells the story of Molly Bloom, who is a real life human. She wrote this book. She started one of the biggest, most high stakes poker games and made a lot of money. It's such an interesting story. And she's super honest, super truthful, just like upfront, talks about some celebrities that she dealt with, some of the really strange encounters she had, some of the bad, like crazy gang and mafia and mob culture she got mixed up into because of this high stakes poker game that she would run. It's a really cool story about feminism, to be honest. Women didn't really break into this industry and control games like she did. She talks a little bit about that in the book, and it goes through her downfall, how she got arrested and what happened at her trial. This is a must read for sure. Take 3 hours to read Molly's Game and then take 2 more hours to watch the movie starring Jessica Chastain, which is also super good. Definitely recommended. Okay, book number 6 is Educated by Tara Westover. This is another memoir that I've loved. You could call this probably a trendy book of 2019, maybe, I think is when it came out, because it blew up for good reason. She tells the story of living in an off-grid family that's super anti-government, anti-medicine, anti-education, had some really complicated experiences with her family and her parents because of it. She eventually broke out of this lifestyle and went to get her education. She has a lot of insight on life and just gained a lot of wisdom through her struggles, and it's just incredibly fascinating to read. So definitely pick this one up. Okay, book number 7 is a little unique in that I couldn't find the exact book by this author that I really wanted to include in this list, so I just grabbed one of her other books off the shelf. But this one isn't so much a specific book recommendation as it is an author recommendation. And the author is Kate Morton. She is an Australian author and she has 4 or 5 books. I've read all of them. This one's called The Lake House. It's not my very favorite of hers. It's a really good one. All her books are really good. But the one I really want to recommend that I can't find is called The Clockmaker's Daughter. It's her newest book and I think it's her best work. So I really love her writing style. She's one of those authors that cranks out the same outline for all of her books, but her stories and her characters are so varied that you kind of grow to love the outline, and that's why I pick up the next book of hers, because I know it will be similarly structured, and I really love the unique structure she uses, which is that she follows at least 2, sometimes 3 different characters, and they're all set in different time periods, and the characters are connected by one seemingly random thing at the beginning of the book. In this case, it's the lake house and what happens there. So as each character's story unfolds in the different timelines, you start to realize that they're more connected than you think they are. And by the end of it, it's all wrapped up and tied with a beautiful bow in a way that is shocking and entertaining and just really makes you think. Every single one of her books is worth the read, but definitely The Clockmaker's Daughter is for sure her best one. That book left me thinking about the ending for weeks after I read it. She is a totally awesome author. For sure, check her out. Okay, book number 8. I couldn't do this list without including this book, and really it's a recommendation for the whole series. Outlander. Yes, I'm a sucker for Outlander. And yes, on the surface, it seems like another goofy, romantic, cheesy, kind of raunchy lady novels, but that is not what it is. It is, yes, full of romance, but the story goes so far beyond just the relationship between Jamie and Claire, which is worth the read to begin with. So this book is all about Claire, an amazing nurse from the 1940s who accidentally finds herself transported in time back to the 1700s in Scotland, where she has to learn how to function and live her life. It's full of history, which sometimes is not the most accurate, but it lends you to want to learn more about Scotland, and it's just super fascinating. There's never a dull moment in Outlander. This book specifically is the first one, and I read this book in 2 days, even though it's like almost 1,000 pages. You literally can't put it down once you pick it up. It is one of the most entertaining books I've ever read. Period. Some people read this first one and stop, and that's totally fine. I definitely recommend perusing the whole series. It does become more of a commitment as you continue to read. This one is about 1,000 pages and they just keep getting longer. So I think the last couple have been over 1,400, almost even 1,500 pages. So it's a commitment for sure. There's 8 books total and the 9th one is coming out soon and I freaking can't wait for it. Read it. You won't regret it. Okay, the next book is one of my favorites, not only because it is an amazing story, so creepy and mysterious and gory and scary, but because it's written by a feminist icon, in my opinion, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Mary Shelley wrote this book in a time when women basically didn't write books to begin with, especially books that had such intrigue and mystery and gore and monsters and just kind of creepy, gross stuff. She really challenged the idea of what a woman in her time was capable of and showed the world that women can write whatever they want, and this book is example A. It tells the story of Dr. Frankenstein and the monster that he creates. The whole book really explores the theme of man versus monster. It really delves deep into creationism and who we're born as versus who we choose to be. This is an amazing book and it's definitely worth the read. Book number 10, a hilarious book. A book that you will laugh all the way through. Tina Fey's Bossy Pants. This book has been out for like a good 10 years. Tina Fey was kind of the first in the female comedians writing a book age, and she paved the way for a lot of other female comedians to write awesome books, which you should also read. Mindy Kaling has hysterical books. Amy Poehler has a great book. Busy Phillips, Chelsea Handler has lots of books. Even like Nick Offerman and his wife Megan Mullally wrote a book recently that's really great. So I recommend this genre as a whole because they're just easy, fun reads that will make you pee your pants with laughter. But this one specifically is the best of all of this genre of books. She talks about her kids, about her husband, about her work on SNL and 30 Rock. Once you read this, you just want to be Tina Fey's best friend because she's such a cool human. So read this book, you will not regret it. It's so funny. Book number 11, another classic that you probably read in school that you should for sure read again because it will take you like 2 hours to read it. The Giver. It's super compelling because all the dots aren't connected until about halfway through, and then stuff hits the fan and it gets really crazy really quick. It's all about Jonas and his strange futuristic world. He gets selected out of everyone in his tribe, for lack of a better word, to train to be the next giver, which is kind of like the wise old person that keeps all the memories and kind of holds the tribe together. And through that, he kind of realizes that his world isn't everything that he thought it was, that there's a lot going on behind the scenes that he's not okay with and that challenge him. And it's one of the best endings of a book I've ever read because it's one of those endings that's totally up for interpretation. It's an amazing book. It's a really easy, quick read. It will leave you thinking for a long time. Please read this. Book number 12 is probably the most popular book of 2019. So you've probably read it. If you haven't, it's totally worth it. There's a reason it was the most popular book and everyone's read it. Where the Crawdads Sing. Oh. This freaking book, you guys. This book is so unique. It tells such a different story. It explores themes like poverty and isolation and loneliness. It harps on the importance of relationships and trust. So you follow this precious little girl who lives in the woods in a trailer with her family, and she ultimately is basically abandoned and has to learn how to care for herself and support herself when she's like 9 years old. It's crazy. So you follow this girl's journey all the way to adulthood, and you see the impact that isolation has on her life and the relationships that she has and her ability to trust people. It kind of culminates in this murder mystery that pops up in the middle of it. That's really fascinating and leaves you guessing. Some people have said that this book has a slow start. I don't agree with that. I think it's incredibly interesting from the very beginning. It definitely picks up about halfway through, that's true. The first part is a lot of character development. And so if you are the kind of person that likes a lot of action, I would still say for sure read this book, but just know that you will be reading a lot of character development in the first little bit of the book, and the action really picks up about in the middle. So it's for sure worth it to wait to that point. If you are a character sucker like I am, then you'll love every second of this book. It's amazing. You should read it right now if you haven't already. Okay, last book. Wow, we're already almost at the end. I could not do a list of recommended books without including my very favorite book of all time that I've read about, I honestly don't know how many times I've read this book. I first read this book when I was 12 or 13 and absolutely fell in love with the characters and the story. But each time I read it, I uncover more depth and approach it from a different point of view because I've read it really throughout my life so far, and I get something different out of it every time. It's a love story with perfect characters that struggle and then end up getting everything they absolutely want in the end that they didn't even know they needed. It is one of a kind. I love it so much. Pride and Prejudice. This is my favorite book. Jane Austen is a literary genius. I know it's not for everyone. It could be viewed as a little bit dull, a little bit simplistic, a little bit naive, but I'm telling you right now, there is so much to this book. You probably know the story, but if you don't, it's about the Bennet sisters. There are 5 of them. It's about their life living as females with not a lot of choice and the responsibility they feel to get married and to make good matches so that their family isn't ruined. Jane Austen, you should read about her life. It's incredibly interesting. She wanted to give her characters everything she didn't have, and she definitely does that in this book. It's just great from start to finish. I love it. Okay, there you have it. Those are 13 books that I think you should absolutely read right now. Go click on Amazon, type them in, order them. What else are you doing sitting at home? Nothing. Read these books. They're great. Please comment down below if you've read any of these books and how you feel about them. And let me know if you're going to order any books based on my recommendations. I would love to chat with you about what you think after you read. Let me know if you liked this format and if you want to see a part 2. I am full of book recommendations, and most importantly, I want to know what books you recommend for me to read. So comment down below some of your favorite books of all time that I didn't mention on this list that you think I should give a try, and I'm always looking for the next amazing book to add to my must-read list. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks guys, bye!